So we just went through this manifesto series, which was really great for our leaders to look back on all of our values that we hold dear and remember why we hold them dear and how they apply in our microchurch lives and in the lives of our leaders. And now we're moving into a book, which is Romans. And it seems like God is definitely trying to say something to our community through this book. So maybe you can tell us what that is and why we're going through this particular book at this particular time.
Yeah, if you look at what we've done in our short history as a community, we've really majored on Jesus, our commitment to being Christocentric, devotionally, but also missiologically, and then maybe even cruciform in our approach to ministry and life. And then I could say we've looked at Jesus from both angles, from both sides, both his first coming and his second coming, because we spent quite a bit of time also in the book of Revelation. So we've dabbled a bit in the middle books, but we've mostly focused on the Gospels and Revelation in our history. And so, I don't know, maybe it's just time, but also Romans itself sort of exists in the history of the church in a way that's a little different than the rest of the books of the New Testament, because the book of Romans itself was the catalyst for the Protestant Reformation. So it's the book that Luther reads that gives him this sort of conversion, second conversion, if you will, toward true faith in God. All these things come from his encounter, actually, with the book of Romans. Not just studying it, but somehow being moved by it to realize that he was supposed to and could have an individualized relationship with God who had saved him as a sinner. And not just through the power of the sacraments of the church was he saved, but through a direct relationship with Jesus Christ. And so I think about it like, I remember one of the first Christmases that we ever had with our kids. I think I may have only had one kid at the time, maybe two. They were both toddlers, really small. And I remember our whole family was there. My sister had her one or two kids at the time, and we hadn't figured out yet how to do Christmas, and so I think there was just like a million gifts, and maybe you remember an experience like that, but just they were swimming in gifts. I mean, they were just piled high all around them. And I remember watching JL open gifts and realizing in this moment that as she was almost exasperated by there were so many gifts to open, that she was exhausted by it. And then at the end, she was just surrounded by open boxes and all of these gifts. But in a sense, she had received nothing. There was too many in a way. So the fun of it, the joy that was on her face was the opening of gifts. And so she would open a gift and it would be this extraordinary great gift, let's say. And then she would just quickly throw it to get the next one, because it was the opening of the gifts that was the joy, the fun. Maybe an adult example of that would be like a gift card. Now we give each other gift cards. This was just sort of anticlimactic. If you get what do you do when you get a gift card? You just say, wow, thank you for nothing. Thank you for some money, or money that can be spent in a certain place.
One place
only. It's worse than money, really. So it has the downside of money, but none of the upside. So, we receive. The problem with receiving a gift card, at least in our reaction to it, it's much the same way that JL felt about her gifts. It's sort of this nondescript, sort of blunted, ambiguous feelings, is that I don't know really what it is yet. It is a gift. There's a gift in there somewhere. You may have given $100, $200, $500 gift card, but it isn't anything yet. It has no dimensions. The gift has no dimensions. I think of the Gospels. I think of the life of Jesus and all of its complexity and beauty and wonder. I think of the cross and the resurrection, which is the finale of those stories, and all that it means for us. It's like we know it means a lot. We know he has won for us a room full of gifts, and maybe to a degree we've opened them briefly. And at least for me, Romans feels like really taking the best gift in a sea of gifts and examining it. Taking that gift card and actually going and buying something you really wanted. And now looking at that thing, beholding it, and all of its value to you, to the world. That's part of what Paul does, I think, in Romans. He unpacks the grace of God. So we know, because we've looked at the life of Jesus, that he has offered us grace, and we have received that grace. But I think what Paul does, he said, let's really zoom in and let's figure out what all that actually means. Just that one thing, that one gift, what it means. And it means so much. It means a reprieve from the wrath of God. It means purpose in our own lives. It means a new encounter in life with the Spirit of God. It means adoption into his family. It means sonship, daughtership. It means to feel his presence and his power alongside us in everything we do in every single moment. And Paul is going to take that one gift, that one idea, and he's going to give it dimension. He's going to show us what the grace of God actually means to the powers and the princes and powers of this world and to our own souls. So maybe it's the focusing in the microcosm of something that we have already known and accepted that Jesus has won for us on the cross. But have we really looked at this kind of depth, at what it means for us and for the world? That's what Romans will do. And that's part of the journey, I think, I'm looking forward to.